G'day there guys, it's Connie here again, coming at you from a dark room somewhere, and we're reading more stories today, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Cheers. Okie dokie, we're on the Am I the A-hole subreddit. This one was written by user Construction, and it's titled, Would I be the a-hole if I tell HR about my past with a new coworker? I, 34 male, am a lead developer on a team of mid-sized SaaS company that has around 100 or so employees. Basically, we are large enough that there are employees we can see and recognize, but not necessarily know their names. Recently, we had a new hire, Krista, 33 female, who joined the PM part of the project I'm working on. I have a history with Krista from college. In college, I was a lot more in my own shell. I didn't really treat myself well and was very much the introverted nerd, down to bad posture and poor fashion sense. Krista, she did have quite a few friends in college, but at least in my view she wasn't super popular, but she was well liked and was conventionally attractive. We shared a few classes together, and one day she asked me for some help on an assignment. I helped her on it and we talked, and from the sounds of things, she seemed genuinely friendly to me. I helped her on a few more assignments, and she finally asked me if I wanted to meet her after class at a coffee shop and talk. I said sure, and when I got there, Krista was nowhere in sight. I waited about 20 minutes before I called her. She answered and started laughing, and I heard several other voices laughing. Krista saying something like, "Why would I want to date a fat loser like you?" Looked out the front window of the shop and saw one of Krista's friends holding up her camera phone, and it looked like she was recording. The next few weeks there were jokes about me and flyers with my face from the coffee shop vid plastered up with creep in bold letters on top. I kept my head down, and within a month the next big thing popped up on campus and I was forgotten. It didn't stop Krista and her friends from going, "Ew, creep," when they saw me, but I guess for the rest of the campus it got old, so I never got accused of anything, or even really ostracized by the rest of the student body. After college, I did learn about self-care a bit better. Plus, I usually am with other programmers, so I really don't stand out as a social outcast. When Krista was introduced to our team, I don't think she recognized me, and it's only been a week, but I want to know if bringing up the college incident is even worth it for HR. Most of my rational brain really just wants to let this go, treat Krista as a new person, and get on with me, but I have a small fear that she might tell a skewed version of the college events and sour the team I'm on against me, so I should at least disclose to HR so in case she does start telling tales, I have recourse. Reddit, would I be the a-hole if I told HR about my past with Krista? Yeah, that's a tricky one. At first I was thinking that this is just an opportunity for revenge if Opie wants it, but like Opie said, it could also be a matter of self-preservation, if she starts telling lies and things like that. Let's see what the comments think. You should report it and have it documented so she can't turn anything around on you. I'd also ask if she can be put onto another project. You need to give HR a heads up about her previous behaviour. People can change, but they seldom do. Bruh, she made false allegations around campus about you being a creep because she asked you on a date and stood you up as a prank. She's a scumbag. What if she goes to HR and tells them you were a creep in college, came on to her and tries to go after your job by getting you fired? Go to HR, report it, and get ahead on it. If she says something, a response will always be seen as defensive and potentially lying, while if they have it on the record that she has a history of bullying and labelling people creeps, when she tries it again, they'll have serious trouble believing her, and be keeping an eye on it, and make someone else her direct supervisor, etc., so you'll be in less situations she could lie about. Say you don't want to be involved in any decisions about wages, firing, hiring, promotions, or being her direct supervisor. I think you should practice what you plan on saying to HR until you almost sound bored, relaying the facts as dispassionately as possible. Quote, I recently met a new hire and I know her from college. She started and spread several rumours about me, then harassed me for X number of years, enlisting the help of a few of her friends. I wanted to request that we not be partnered on any projects going forward. Not that I harbour any resentment, but I want to protect my good name. Someone more eloquent and better versed in business language could probably put it together better, but that's the gist of it. Good luck, and update us please. Yeah, some solid ideas there. Let's move on to an update. Yesterday some things happened, some bad, mostly good. There were mixed responses, most telling me to tell, but one HR professional saying I shouldn't. Due to the mixed messaging, I did consult a local employment lawyer. The lawyer told me that I should make HR aware of the past I have with Krista, but make it clear that there was never anything disciplinary acted upon me in college. He asked if my job had a copy of my transcript, and I verified that it did. Lawyer asked if there were any third parties that would verify the harassment and see if I could get their names and contact details if needed. I knew 2 people back in college that I still had on my LinkedIn, and I was certain they would tell the truth, so we were good there. Lawyer told me to just request a meeting with HR and my supervisor, say there was a past with Krista, there was never any charges or disciplinary action, and I have 2 witnesses if they ever need verification. So that was what I did. Friday morning I came into the office and sent HR and my supervisor an email requesting a formal meeting at 10 a.m. My supervisor came to my desk and asked if everything was okay and wanted to make sure I was happy. I told him everything was fine, I wasn't leaving, and it wasn't anything with him or the team. He seemed relieved, and by 10 a.m. we rolled into the conference room with the HR officer. I thanked them both for taking time out of their day to meet me, and then I did as my lawyer instructed. I said that the new project manager, Krista, was someone I went to college with. She participated in harassment of me in college, and detailed how I never had any charges or disciplinary action, and that I had 2 independent witnesses that saw the harassment and gave their contact info. My supervisor seemed shocked, and the HR officer went through the info I gave her for a minute, and then the 2 of them talked for a minute. Finally, Krista was called in. When Krista walked into the conference room and saw me, HR, and the team supervisor, she seemed shocked. HR started with something like, "We have been told you 2 have a past." Krista sat down and looked pretty shocked throughout. She did admit to the bullying, but tried to reframe it as a misunderstanding repeatedly. She never outright said what the bullying was, but then she was told that since this was an incident in both our pasts that nobody wants brought up again, that it should stay dead. HR made it clear that this is not to be a funny water cooler story to share. Krista and I both agreed to that, but Krista still looked shaken. Noon was coming up right when the meeting was wrapping up. My supervisor and HR again reiterated, neither of us is to breathe a word about the college incident. We're professionals and we're here to do a job. I went to the break room for lunch, and actually I felt like my appetite has finally returned. The last few days were stress-starving me, to be honest. I sat at a table with the rest of the development team and we started eating. Halfway through my sandwich, another coworker, Sandy, 30 female, came by and said, "So I heard an interesting story yesterday about you and Krista," with a big grin on her face. She didn't get further because my supervisor was at our table, stood up, pointed at Sandy and across the room at Krista and said, "You 2, conference room, now." I wasn't privy to what happened in the conference room, but I did see the HR officer go into the room 2 minutes later, looking pretty ticked and with a mustard stain on her shirt. I guess she got the call and was interrupted during lunch. Not sure what went on. The rest of my team asked what that was. I said, "I have no idea," and just kept eating. 5 minutes later, 2 more co-workers on other parts of the project were brought into the conference room. Lunch ended and we went back to work, but speculation was high. It wasn't until 3 that the conference room finally emptied. Krista looked like she was crying, and the others that were in the room with her seemed to treat her quite coldly. Not sure what this will mean, but it appears for now Krista is still working here. But I appreciate the lengths HR and my supervisor are taking to ensure this won't blow up further. Oh yeah, it looks like she's still got a job now, but she pretty quickly alienated herself from everyone by the sounds of it. Who walks out of a very serious meeting with an agreement like that and then chooses to break it at the first opportunity she gets? She certainly doesn't sound like the sharpest tool in the shed, that's for sure. And it's also good to see the HR team and the management being diligent about this as well. Pretty rare in stories like this these days. Okay, on to a second update. Monday wasn't a crap show, so that was good. My supervisor and the HR officer did bring everyone on the team into the big conference room for the HR officer and said that we are a professional company, and while we do like to have fun, there are company outings like golf, bowling and main event, we are to be strictly professional and do not gossip about other co-workers' lives. Sandy and the other two co-workers who were brought into the conference room on Friday looked pretty ashamed during this. Krista was sitting at the other end of the conference room table, and there seemed to be a noticeable distance between her and the other employees. My supervisor said he wants to consider this matter closed, and for us to get back to offering great solutions to our clients. Everyone filed out of the conference room and went back to work. Lunch on Monday was pretty tense, but Tuesday management had a local Mexican place bring in a Taco Tuesday for us, and the mood improved considerably. I don't gossip, but I did hear murmurs that Krista is now on her final warning and put on a performance improvement plan, all within her first 2 weeks. Not sure how true these rumours are, but with how isolated Krista now appears to be to the rest of the team, it is clear that everyone else is not willing to socialise with her beyond their work functions. I considered this matter closed to myself, and if Krista worked hard and got her redemption arc, I'd have been fine with it. But then last night happened. Not sure where Krista got my address, but she was outside my house last night, and luckily my doorbell cam recorded, so I can pretty accurately transcribe it. She rung and asked if we could talk. I said through the digital doorbell there was nothing to talk about, and she better leave because this is now harassment. She pleaded for me to come outside and discuss it. I declined and emphasized she's not welcome. She then said she had a crush on me in college, that her friends found out she asked me to coffee and pressured her to turn it into a harassment campaign, and she was afraid of them disowning her for liking a guy like me. Guys, I wanted to laugh so frickin' hard. I was socially awkward back in college, but even I knew this was bullcrap. Hell, I wasn't even interested in Krista for a date. I thought she wanted to be my friend. I told her that I didn't care what she has to say, she has to leave. She told me I could just ask Sandy what she told her, and it would clear this all up. I declined and said that this matter in the office is closed. Krista finally made an exaggerated sigh and walked off. I took the video recording from the doorbell and sent it to the employment lawyer and will give it to my supervisor and HR today. I'll be shocked if she'll last longer than this Friday now. Yeah, I can't see that happening either. On to the final update. Krista is fired. I didn't even have to send HR the doorbell cam video, but I did send it to the lawyer I was talking to. Lawyer is drafting a cease and desist and potentially a restraining order if needed. Krista somehow got my address from someone in IT. The IT new hire is suspended because of this data breach, and everyone got a memo about data security yesterday morning, including the usual about phishing scams. Krista's desk was empty when I came in yesterday morning, and since I'm taking the necessary legal steps, I'm considering this matter closed. Yeah, nothing like facing the consequences of your own actions. Now for some final comments. Someone asks, are you the same physically as you were in college? Did you have a glow up at all? Did you talk to Sandy about it? I think now that Krista is gone, she'll tell you the truth about what she really said. It's a little sus that you're posting but not commenting. Opie answers, I'll answer. I lost weight. I do nightly walks. I'm not ripped or shredded or any of the 50 adjectives people use. I also dress a little better. Nothing like designer clothing, just newer slacks and button-up shirts that fit me. Wouldn't consider it a glow-up, just learning self-care. And no, not going to talk to Sandy about it either. I have no idea what sort of punishment was given to Krista, and the stuff like the final warning and PIP was all rumours. The IT person is on suspension, that is true, and from the sounds of it, it could have been something as simple as him forgetting to lock his screen when he went to take a pee. Details aren't shared, and the only thing we are hearing is unsubstantiated rumours. Plus, I'd think it's bad form to ask HR, hey, can you tell me how you're punishing everyone that could have remotely crossed me? I just want my workplace to be normal again. And a little update. Krista did show up at my front door one more time. I called the cops. She was removed but not arrested, since she didn't technically do anything yet. Lawyer served her with a cease and desist, and it has been communicated to me that she understands. Work is almost back to normal. No one wants to talk about Krista anymore. I consider this truly resolved now. And finally, that's the end of that one. Yeah, she really isn't very bright, is she? Showing up on his doorstep again. Opie handled it very well, though. I think it's also good that he didn't really go about it in a malicious or revenge-filled way. He just told the truth, and the crappiness of her actions, both in the present and in the past, Really just helped people put the full story together themselves. Anyway, that's all for that one. You know the drill, give me your thoughts down below. Alrighty, let's move on. Alrighty guys, we're still on Am I the A-hole? This one was written by user Mata187 and it's titled Am I the A-hole by not inviting a slow eater to dinner night out? So me, 35 male, and my wife, 37, are making plans to go to dinner with some family friends. Now, my wife is originally from Turkey, and sometimes going out to dinner in her country and culture runs a bit long. However, it's usually because people socialise during dinner, not because people eat slow. When I asked who is joining us, she names off 3 couples, changed their names to American for simplicity. The Jones couple, Davidson couple, and Mattis couple. Now the Joneses and Davidsons I don't have an issue with and get along great. The Mattises though, Kelly Mattis, is the slowest eater I've ever met. Backstory. The first time we went out with the Mattis couple at a chain restaurant known for its pasta, she was slowly eating her salad. She ate each thing one at a time. When the main course was brought out, she wasn't done with her salad. Then when everyone else had finished eating the main course, she wasn't even 1/4 into her meal. She's taking tiny little bites of her meal. Meanwhile, she is engaging in the conversation at the table with smiles and laughter, but everyone else ate and finished at a normal pace. Our plates were taken away, and hers remained, with most of her food remaining untouched. She even got offended when the check was brought out and a server asked, "Can I box it up for you?" In which she replied, "I'm still eating." Almost 30 minutes later, of us just sitting there, she only ate half her meal and said, "Oh, I'm full." Even at dinner parties, Kelly still eats painfully slow. It's painful to watch her take tiny little bites on kebabs, even though she's engaging in whatever conversation is going on at the table. Even when the coffee and dessert is brought out, she literally nibbles at her cake or fruit. So I told my wife no to the Mattis couple. I explained why and she kinda agreed with me, but explains, "It's almost a cultural thing. People take their time with family and friends at the dinner table in Turkey." However, I stood firm saying no because I didn't want the dinner to be dragged out longer than it had to be. My wife is kinda upset because she really likes Kelly's company and friendship. I ask if Kelly has a medical condition or social condition where she has to eat slowly and take tiny bites. Her response, "Not that I'm aware of." So I again say no to the Mattis couple. This is the first time I downright do not want someone to join us for dinner. I like Bob Mattis, but can't stand his wife eating so frickin' slowly. Am I the a-hole for not inviting this couple because the wife is a painfully slow eater? FYI, dinner was great and everyone ate at a normal pace with no complaints. Yeah man, I don't know, like it's dinner with friends, like what's your rush bro? But also, she needs to read the room a little bit better. But like how inconvenient can waiting an extra 20 or 30 minutes really be for OP here? Like irritating, sure, but to the point where you don't even include these people in your events? That's kind of disrespectful. I'm gonna say everyone sucks here, OP slightly more. Let's go to the comments. So when the check arrives, that's when you're just about to leave. This woman ate for half an hour longer, meaning she only kept you half an hour by eating slowly. You're prioritizing 30 minutes of inconvenience over your wife's close friend. I understand the irritation, but you're still being an ass, a small one. You're the a-hole. Edit, a lot of people seem to be assuming I've never encountered this situation. I have. It can be annoying, but it's nowhere near as unbearable as folks are making it out to be. Unless OP has left out that they have somewhere scheduled to be after, and this woman is causing them to miss it, I fail to see how this is so horrible of this woman. It's not long, everyone is still talking. I think it's selfish for OP to entirely exclude a close friend of his wife's before even considering a less nuclear option, such as just asking the woman beforehand if she'd mind cutting her meal a little shorter once everyone is ready to leave. Not the a-hole, it's really socially unaware of her to always do that when other people are finished, especially if she's getting upset at waiters over bringing the check. You're the a-hole. Damn dude, what's the rush? Is there something pressing after dinner, like a movie or something? It seems like a really silly thing to get so bent out of shape about. If you just want to shovel in the meal and get the F out, I guess it makes sense not to invite them, but in my opinion, our culture, the US, I'm assuming you're the same, has meals all wrong. Not the a-hole. If Kelly is the only one languishing at the table, inspecting each morsel on her fork before sticking it in her mouth, while everyone else is finished and is waiting to move on, then she's being the oblivious, hopefully, a-hole. Since she lacks social awareness with regards to sit-down meals, it's best if you schedule different non-food activities with them, or if they absolutely must eat every time you see each other, plan ahead for the meandering masticator. Trivia night at a pub, for example, takes all evening and would allow for these tiny introspective bites in between conversation, or a food fair allows for wandering and sampling. And for everyone saying, she's Turkish, it's cultural, doesn't sound like anyone else is Turkish, nor are they in Turkey. Your wife can schedule girl time with Kelly if she wants to take 2 hours to eat half a bagel. Elsewise, Kelly needs to get with the frickin' program and stop holding everyone else's evening up. Yeah, I love the contrasting comments here. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. It's interesting. I can totally see both sides here. Okay, let's go to an update. Backstory. My wife has a close and awesome friend, Kelly, who is an incredibly slow eater. When I mean slow, I mean slow. I first noticed this when we went out for pasta. We had all finished our food and she was only a quarter done. When the check came, the waiter asked if she can box up her food, but Kelly said, "I'm still eating." This wasn't the first, nor was it the last time. I asked my wife if she has a medical condition that forces her to eat slow, and she said no. I then asked her husband, Bob, through text, and again he said no. Bob mentioned that when they go out to eat with others, Kelly is too focused on people in the conversation, that she doesn't eat. So at home when they eat, he absolutely does not talk to her or even look at her, which forces Kelly to eat at a normal or regular pace. So, then my wife started asking around her friends if they've noticed Kelly eating slowly. To our surprise, the response was no, at least not until that point. My wife makes plans for a group of 7 of us to go out for dinner, but told me to choose the place. It's mostly other women involved, and I asked if Kelly and the husband were coming, and she confirmed that they were. So our party will be me, my wife, Kelly, Bob, and 3 other lady friends for dinner. I picked an all-you-can-eat, but you cook your own food Korean barbecue place. The catch? You only have a 2-hour time limit. I thought this would force Kelly to eat at a normal pace. Nope. We were seated at 7:45. At the 2-hour mark, the waiters shut off our burners and brought the check. Kelly still had her first and second serving on her plate. She told the waiter, "I'm still eating," and they kindly explained that we had hit our 2-hour limit and that they needed the table. Kelly is obviously upset, but can't do anything about it. After we pay, we're outside the restaurant and the ladies are making plans to get coffee or something. Then it happens. Kelly says, "Can we go somewhere where they serve food? I'm actually still hungry." My wife says, "Did you not eat enough in there?" Kelly, "No, I didn't get a chance to finish since our time was up." Bob says, "Seriously? We had 2 hours. What were you doing in those 2 hours?" Kelly replies, "It wasn't 2 hours. You're being unreasonable again." Friend 1 says, "No, it was literally 2 hours. The waiter told us we had 2 hours at the beginning, and they kept a timer. Did you not notice all the food we were cooking?" Kelly says, "It couldn't have been 2 hours. There's no way. Their timer must have been off, and I saw the food and it smelled really, really good." Bob replies, "Then why didn't you eat? Between me and OP alone, we had 9 servings between us." Kelly says, "Whatever. The point is, I'm hungry. Let's go somewhere they serve food." The ladies looked a bit annoyed, but agreed to go somewhere where they can have coffee and Kelly can eat. Bob and I decided not to join them. Bob had to work the next day, so he went, and I wanted to catch the last few night races, and I went home. At around 1:30 a.m, my wife returned home and told me the events that happened. They went to a Middle Eastern lounge and restaurant, and the ladies ordered coffee and dessert, and Kelly ordered a meal. At 12:30, the ladies were ready to call it a night, and again, Kelly did not eat her entire meal. Now everyone began questioning Kelly and her eating habits. Being put on the spot and now overwhelmed, Kelly went outside to calm down. My wife followed her outside and tried to defuse the situation with Kelly, but she was very defensive. She tried to tell Kelly that it's not really a big deal, but people are now more aware and concerned of her eating habits since I, her husband, pointed it out, and her husband, Bob, confirmed it. It didn't help and Kelly called her husband and went off on him. My wife took Kelly home, but they didn't talk much. I think the damage has been done. Yeah, okay, I think that proves that this eating slowness thing is next level. I think we can now all agree that this is probably moving quickly beyond the point of minor inconvenience. Okay, Obi makes new updates in the comments. Hey, OP here. Somehow, someone sent a comment to me directly and found this. I appreciate the author for reposting it. I tried to post other things, but rather use a secondary account so you can see a porthole of my life. Also, many times when I want to write, I get writer's fatigue, if that's a real thing, and so I just stop and delete. There were a lot of events based around this, but I'll keep it as brief as I can. And here's your update, as you asked. This all happened pre-COVID time, but literally the events feel like last week. After the Korean barbecue incident, my wife, still married today, went out with Kelly a few days later to figure out why she is the way she is. No, she doesn't have ADHD or anything else. In fact, from what my wife gathered, she's fine, except when it comes to eating in a social environment. Kelly is a very social Turkish woman. She loves to talk to everyone and anyone and wants to know about anything and everything. Why? I don't know. And when at the breakfast, lunch or dinner table, she just wants to socialize and hear people. So she forgets she's eating. It doesn't happen with tea or coffee, only with plates of food in front of her. But when no one is talking to her, she just eats. Her husband, Bob, still her husband, explained that to me several times, but he also stated that when anything doesn't go her way, she gets very pissy, and when you add hunger to the mix, it'll be hell for him as he has to hear her complain. When lockdown happened, Bob and Kelly really worked on her social and eating skills at the same time, and after hearing Bob tell me how she managed, I'm surprised they were not divorced by now. According to him, the first time they tried to do something, it took Kelly 1.5 hours to eat 2 slices of pizza. He set his iPhone timer. Of course, not believing Bob, Kelly thought he was exaggerating again. So Bob decided to record their next dinner without telling her. Oh man, when Bob showed her the recording and the time length of the recording, 2 hours 31, for a homemade kebab skew and a salad, she went off, putting it mildly. Kelly was calling it an invasion of trust, an invasion of privacy, and feared that she was being labelled with a disorder. And in the middle of lockdown, she left him that night. Well, she might have a lot of close friends within the Turkish community, but no one let her in, and she even came to our house when she didn't come in because we were sick, non-COVID. So Kelly went back to Bob and they talked it out. After hours of arguing, they both came up with a plan of action on how to fix Kelly. The solution? When you're not talking, you're eating. As simple as that was, Kelly never ever did that. You would think that when you're with friends at a dinner table and you're not talking, you're eating. Well, not Kelly. She would talk, directly or indirectly, and look at the general direction of the conversation and be immersed with it. Even if she had food in her hand, she wouldn't eat it. With patience and consistent practice, Bob was able to get Kelly to a little over an hour for a steak dinner. When it seemed like the issue had been resolved, it wasn't. On the first night restaurant restrictions were lifted, our Turkish friend group met up at a sushi place. Kelly went right back to her old ways. It was bad. Kelly wouldn't shut up. She literally hijacked a lot of conversations at the table. In fact, she had ordered 3 specialty rolls and only ate half of one. And as usual, she complained when the waitstaff offered her boxes for her rolls. Waitstaff weren't touching any plates then. Now, 2 months later, we met up again with Bob and Kelly at a Middle Eastern restaurant, and she got a lot better. She actually finished her meal. It just seemed like the first night out was an outlier. She carried a normal conversation with everyone and ate like normal. I asked Bob what he did, and all he said was, same thing, retrained her. That was the last time we went out for dinner with them. We've had barbecues at friends' places and gatherings at the community centre, but no more eating out at restaurants with Bob and Kelly. In 2022, Bob and Kelly moved to Florida, a move they regret to this day. While I don't speak or text Bob as normal anymore, my wife still keeps in contact with Kelly almost weekly. She's found a therapist in Miami that is helping with other fears she has. Fear of being labelled as big and fear of missing out. And going out to eat is less frequent in Florida as it's more expensive. However, when Bob and Kelly do go out, it seems to be a hit or miss on the time. What my wife has said was the Turkish community in Florida do call out Kelly more if she's eating too slow. I asked why we didn't do that here. My wife's response was, why? We're supposed to socialise. Geez, at least it sounds like she's getting at least a little better, even if it's marginal. One comment says, what a miserable dining experience with your loved one that'd be. I wonder how they made it past the first date. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Opie adds again. Okay, so I needed a reason to contact Bob this morning. Thanks for the question. Hearing him tell his POV really deserves a post on its own, but where would it fit? According to Bob, they did not eat out on their first few dates. In fact, their first date was just tea and coffee by the lake, and then a walk through the park. The second date was just dessert. It wasn't until a month or so later that they actually went to a cafe before a match, and that's when he started noticing she was very sociable and a slow eater. She didn't know the couple sitting next to them, and yet she started a full convo with them. However, it didn't raise a red flag because it was a cafe and it was match night. It wasn't until they got serious and he brought her home to meet his parents that it became obvious something was off. They sat at the dinner table for more than 3 hours and she ate less than half her meal. Now, this happens on big holidays or celebrations when there's a lot of drinking and desserts going on non-stop, but there was none of that. His mum loved her and his dad was, as he put it, on a seesaw. How did he find the cure to stop her eating slow? He had gone to a Turkish cup match and threw out his voice from all the cussing and cheering. The next morning at breakfast, she tried to converse with him, but he couldn't say anything, so she just ate. He said he felt bad, but then he didn't when he noticed she was just eating like a regular person, and the rest is history. But still, to this day, he, his words not mine, frickin' hates going out to eat, especially in Turkey. Well, not so much in Florida, because from time to time when she tries to talk to the table next to them, she's quickly shot down when the people only speak Spanish. Yeah, I guess that's one way of dealing with it, right? But yeah, I can't say I've ever heard of a condition like this that is this bad. What about you guys? Maybe you got a similar story you'd like to share. Anyway, that's over for that one, and we'll move on to another story. Okay, am I the a-hole again? This one was written by user Logical Carpet, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my wife I'm not going to sacrifice my hobbies just so that I can babysit? My wife Jane, 34, and I, 38, have been together for 5 years. She also brought my stepdaughter Emily, 9, into our marriage. We have her for 4 days a week, Monday to Thursday, while she's at her dad's Friday to Sunday. From the beginning, Jane told me Emily doesn't need a second father figure as she has her dad to fill that role. I was only supposed to be a trusted authority figure in case she ever needed anything. I didn't mind and try my best to respect that boundary. She's a sweet child anyway and doesn't cause trouble, so it's not like I have to discipline her. Her father is also a good dad. Emily's dad recently got married, and his wife has 2 kids of her own who are at their place Wednesday to Saturday and at their dad's Sunday to Tuesday. Emily and her new step-siblings don't get along at all. They're always fighting and it's pretty toxic. Emily's dad asked Jane if they changed their custody schedule to match his stepkids to keep the children apart. It's not a big deal in and of itself because we don't live far from each other, so picking and dropping is no issue, and she can easily be dropped off to school no matter where she stays. The issue is my wife agreed to it without consulting me. Jane is currently doing a certification course for the next 12 months, and they have classes on Saturdays from 9 to 5 p.m. She asked me if I can babysit Emily on Saturdays, but I can't because I play golf with my brother and sister on Saturday mornings from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. This has been our tradition from before Jane and Emily came into my life, and I had told Jane from much before that this is important to me and my siblings. She asked if I can move to another day, but that's not possible either because my siblings also have jobs and families of their own, so Saturday was the best day for us. I told her she can hire a babysitter, but she doesn't want to spend money when I can do it for free. I told her that wouldn't work for me. She then got mad and said golf is stupid and I should put my stepdaughter over my siblings. That ticked me off, so I told her I'm not going to sacrifice my hobbies just so that she can have a free babysitter. For the record, I don't have anything against Emily. I've babysat her before and she's a good kid. If there was a family emergency or if it was an occasional occurrence, then yeah, I would cancel golf for that day to take care of her. but I can't give up something this important to me for 12 months continuous. She called me a selfish a-hole and slept on the couch last night. So, am I the a-hole? Yeah, not the a-hole for me. This is definitely something you consult with the person before, agreeing to it. Let's check out the comments. Not the a-hole. It sounds like this is something that should have been worked out more carefully as a family before agreeing to. Is it possible that the dad and stepmom changed their kid's schedule as well? That way they have her when Jane is busy with certification courses. Info. Is there a kids class or something like that where you go golfing? Could help integrate the two if a schedule change is not possible. Opie replies, there isn't, and even if there is, it would likely still have to be paid for. My wife doesn't want money to be spent to take care of Emily. She just wants me to do it for free. One downvoted commenter says, everyone sucks here. If this was the biological child, everyone would be calling him the a-hole. It's just a damn shame stepkids are treated this way. I understand there was an agreement, but he did say that he would be a trusted authority figure if she ever needed anything. To which Opie replies, look, I don't disagree that kids should be treated well by their step-parents, but at the end of the day, it was Jane who set the ground rules on our relationship. Whenever I tried to play the role of a step-parent and influence any decisions regarding Emily, she would shut me down. I have to respect her boundaries. At the same time, I don't think it's right for her to unilaterally change the rules now that it's convenient for her. I suggested a babysitter, but she doesn't want to do that. I don't think it's right she gets to pick and choose when I'm supposed to be a parent and when I'm not. I also have an emotional investment. Not the a-hole, but I don't get how people expect to date someone with a child and just be totally removed. It's callous thinking. I get not being the primary go-to person, but in all these stories, it's so dumb to not expect to feel some parental duties when dating someone with a child. That child is a central part of the person you're dating. You can't just compartmentalize that or treat the child like a chore the biological parent is solely responsible for. I just feel like if you choose to date someone with kids, at some point you'll get stuck doing some childcare duties, and it shouldn't be such a big deal that you do. Again, it's kind of heartless to date someone with kids but then treat them as a separate entity entirely that you have zero concern for. Basically, people need to stop dating others that have kids if they aren't ready to some extent, even small, integrate that child into their life. The only excuse is if the child is a full-grown adult, it doesn't matter. But again, a little heartless and naive to think if your partner is a young kid that you'll never be relied on somehow for rides, care, or some management. Opie replies, I get what you're saying, but my wife was the one who wanted things to be this way. I was prepared to be a parental figure, but my wife explicitly told me on more than one occasion that I was not supposed to play that role. Whenever I've tried to say or do something that I felt was best for Emily, Jane would tell me it's not my responsibility and to not get involved. If she wants me to be a parent now, then she has to want me to be a parent all the time. I'm not a parent on demand who can just turn a switch. I don't think it's fair to either Emily or me. And Opie responds to another deleted comment. I'm her stepdad only on paper. I have zero authority or input into how my stepdaughter is raised. Whenever I've tried to influence my wife's decision on Emily, it was shut down. Quote, why don't you pay for a babysitter if it matters this much to you? We do share finances, but it's still her responsibility to figure it out for Emily. Why is it my duty to figure out a solution? Why am I the only adult who is supposed to make a sacrifice? Okay, Opie makes a quick update the next day. I want to say thank you to everyone for your kind words and voices of support. Emily deserves to feel cared for, and not like a hot potato who no one wants. I spoke to my brother and his wife, and they've offered to let Emily stay at their home on Saturday morning with their other children so that we can golf. My wife has also agreed, albeit reluctantly, to this arrangement. I have also told her that this arrangement isn't tenable anymore. If she expects me to have parental responsibilities towards Emily, then she needs to treat me like another parent of her daughter. We are going to family counselling to see how we can make this work. Yeah, a wise decision, I think. It sounds like the wife's still being a little bit silly about it, though. Let's read some final comments to wrap this one up. Honestly, for the kiddo, what is the point of Saturday being mum custody time if the mum isn't even there? Why is the dad okay with that? Why is that not a daddy-daughter day so they're out of the house while the stepmom's kiddos are there? The mum seems okay with it being a stepdaughter-stepdad day. Why not just remove the step and her be with her dad? Yeah, Opie's wife is the real a-hole here. You can't tell your partner, "You're not my kid's parent," and then expect him to act like a parent when you need him to. Quote, "My wife has also agreed, albeit reluctantly, to this arrangement. The hell is there for her to object to? She gets to go to her class, and there's no money going towards a sitter for her daughter. Is she mad because it's not OP watching her?" Alrighty guys, we're going to leave that one there. Let me know your thoughts down below. Anyway, that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.